15 and pregnant. If being a teenager is not bad enough with all the homework, cheer practice, drama, and boys, try throwing in an unplanned pregnancy. Every day people ask me what it is like to be a teen mom, and they always ask questions like, how is your dating life? Do you regret it? Is the dad around? These questions get old quickly. Being a teen mom does not change who I am or anything along those lines. Though getting pregnant at 15, being a mother is one of the best things to ever happen to me. I was your everyday all-American teenager. I cheered, I made good grades, and had tons of friends. I was always busy doing something. If I was not going to cheer practice, it was going to church. I did the same thing almost every day. Though I still had 2 years left of high school, I had my future planned out. My goal was to attend college and cheer. Then, out of nowhere, my Prince Charming rode into my life like a storm. This guy had a bigger impact on my life than I originally believed he would. I was 15, in love, and everything was great. Him being my first real boyfriend, we did everything together. We had the same friends, similar interests in sports, and seemed to be a perfect match. As months went by and football season came to an end, we became closer. In my eyes, I thought it was love. It was by far nothing like love at all. He became aggressive, abusive, and controlling. I was ready to throw in the towel when the big news came. I was pregnant. Mr. Charming tried everything to convince me to get rid of what he believed to be the problem. I believe if you lay down, you have to handle the consequences, even if that meant giving the child up for adoption or even flipping your life around to be a mom. Seeing as how I was not ready to tell my family or his, only because I was scared for my family to find out the real truth about the abuse, the only people I trusted and was ready to share my little secret with were my best friends. I just felt stupid and alone. I swore to myself I would leave the abusive relationship, but I could not bring myself to do it yet. One day during class, I confided in a friend that knew about the pregnancy. Little did I know that close a teacher heard every word. After class, my teacher pulled me aside. She confronted me and said, I know that you are pregnant. Have you told your mother? When I admitted that I had not told my mom, my teacher gave me two options. I had 2 weeks to tell her myself, or my teacher would take matters into her own hands. 2 weeks came, and my mom and I were going shopping. Her phone started ringing, and me being my normal nosy self wanted to know who it was. It was the few seconds after that I came to find out it was the school, informing my mom that I was pregnant. She was furious. She was so angry, and called my boyfriend at the time's mom, and they rushed to my house. After fighting with both families, I kept quiet for a while, and I made my decision. I was keeping my son. Mr. Uncharming and his equally unlikable family were outraged. Their behavior forced Child Services to step in. Because I was still a minor, Child Services told me and my parents that if his family were to show up at the hospital when I went into labor, that I would lose my son. When we told them they needed to stay away, that is when everything became crazy. They started stalking me and my family and causing problems for my friends at work. In a few months' time, the cops had been called many times, and we had no further contact with him or his family. It was finally my due date, but no baby. A few days passed, and I was coaching my little cheerleaders at their game. We kept joking about my water breaking soon, but had no idea it would break that night. That night I went into labor, and while we were driving to the hospital, we hit 2 deer, which made my mom take an extra hour getting to the hospital. Finally, we had arrived, and I fell asleep until it was time to push. My little boy finally came. While I was getting used to being a mom, I managed to still be a teenager at the same time. I was a single mom and did everything with my son, without much help from anyone. By this time, I graduated high school a year early with honors. I could not have been more proud of myself. I finally did it. When my son was turning 1, I kept thinking I would be single forever, being that stupid teenage girl. I did not think anyone would love me or take on that huge role of being a father figure. I did not think anyone would ever be good enough or be willing to deal with the everyday things that come along with being a parent. I was wrong about that. I met a guy, even though nothing is set in stone yet, who loves me and my son with everything he has. All my life I have heard the saying, blood does not make a family, love does. I really did not understand the true meaning of that. I am starting to see what that really means. While some of my close friends do not agree with bringing a guy around my son, he is a wonderful role model and an all-around great person. My son loves him so much, and that's all that matters. Being a mother does not mean my life is over, it just means my life started a little early.